I mean, if you insist.
Never in the history of a Jewish congregation we stopped talking.
We're just going to start with a nigun. That's a tune with no melody. So the words are just yalalai or yadadai, whatever makes you happy. Yadadai-dai-dai-dai, 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 from the top. Try with us. We'll turn now to page 142 to welcome in Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyonim, Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem. Seitchem leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. I am not Rabbi Dan. My name is Alyssa Platkow. I'm the rabbinic intern for the summer. It's really wonderful to be here with you all. I want to tell you about a Tat Shabbat that I led a few years ago, I guess now. And I was talking about greeting the Sabbath bride. And we were about to do Lechad Odi, and we were going to stand up in the last verse and turn towards the entrance of the sanctuary, or I guess it was the east or the west traditionally. And no offense to you all, but the congregants at Tat Shabbat are the cutest congregants a rabbi ever serves. So we're about to stand up and we're about to greet our Sabbath bride when a child with full cheeks and beautiful brown ringlets of curly hair yells out, "What is the Sabbath bride wearing?" And I said, "I don't know." what do you think the Sabbath bride wears? And the child said, well, I think the Sabbath bride is wearing a purple princess dress. And another child yelled out, no, the Sabbath bride is wearing a witch costume. And another child yelled out still, no, the Sabbath bride wears a firefighter hat. And then a parent said, no, I think the Sabbath bride wears a white pantsuit. Regardless of what the Sabbath bride wears, or what she wears in our mind, the Sabbath bride, in a sense, represents our aspirations for ourselves and, in part, in what we want the world to be around us. When we face west and we face the door of our sanctuary, we want to embrace this warmth of Shabbat, this wholeness and holiness, this shalom and shlemut. We want to be able to feel grounded. And so when we come into our sanctuary, we embrace that grounding. We allow that Sabbath bride to come be with us. And in a way, we depart from the clinging and clawing of the world around us and the push and pull that we feel during the week. And we're able to be in the moment and be present for every single moment. And that's truly what we want to have as we greet our Banot Mitzvah tonight. Izzy and Maddie, I just met you like a week ago, but I know that this sanctuary full of people has known you for a long, long time, right? And I know that your mom, Tammy, who I also just met a week ago, has given a lot to this synagogue and has touched not only you both, but many, many religious school students who are still in religious school and also now B'nai Mitzvah themselves. So no matter what our Sabbath bride is wearing, let us take advantage of that moment and bask in that peace. And now we'll bask also in the light of the Shabbat candles. We invite up Tammy and Chris. The parents are of our Banot Mitzvah, to light our Sabbath candles and read a little piece of poetry for us.
So may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlikne shel Shabbat.
We'll continue with our Kabbalat Shabbat with Lechuna Rananan, page 132.
Lechun eranena l'Adonai nariya letzur yisheinu. Lechun eranena l'Adonai nariya letzur yisheinu. Lechun eranena l'Adonai nariya letzur yisheinu. top of 134, Zamru Ladonai. Zamru Ladonai Mechinor, Mechinor Vekol Zimra. Zamru Ladonai Mechinor, Mechinor Vekol Zimra. Zamru, Zamru Ladonai, Zamru, Zamru Ladonai, Zamru Ladonai Mechinor, Mechinor Vekol Zimra. Zamru Ladonai Mechinor, Mechinor Vekol Zimra. Sound beautiful. Okay, I think we are ready. We're going to turn to page 138 for Lecha Dodi, that prayer where we finally get to welcome in the Sabbath bride.
And we'll envision what she might look like, what she might be wearing, and our aspirations for ourselves going into this next week. Page 138.
Lecha Dodi Lika Kalaya Neshama Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi Lika Kalaya Shabbat Kabbalat. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu elam yuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, v'shemo tiferet v'liktila. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kalai Adonai 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 b'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kalai Adonai 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 b'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lecha ki mekor ha'beracha, berosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kalai Adonai 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 b'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kalai Adonai 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 b'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. Verse 3. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitzeim mitoch hafecha, rav לשבת בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. lecha Dodi Likrat Kalai Adonai 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 b'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kalai Adonai 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 b'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. Verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'orek u'mi'ori, uri, uri, shir dameri, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kalai Adonai 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 b'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kalai Adonai 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 b'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. You rise and face the entrance. Boi v'shalom al teret ba'al, gam b'simcha u'b'tzorah. Tov emonei al segula, boi chala, boi chala.
likrat kalai Adonai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela lechadoti likrat kalai Adonai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
May be seated as we continue with Psalm 92 on page 140. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov leodot Adonai. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov leodot Adonai. Uzamer leshimcha elyon, uzamer leshimcha elyon, leagid aboker chasecha, ve'emunatcha b'leilot. From the top, Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov leodot Adonai. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov leodot Adonai. Uzamer leshimcha elyon, uzamer leshimcha elyon, leagid baboker chasecha, ve'emunatcha b'leilot. Last time. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov leodot Adonai. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov leodot Adonai.
Shabbat Shalom. I feel warmed up for Shabbat. How about you? That was really nice. So we're going to turn now in our siddurim to page 263 as we make a transition from all of that warming up and singing up to the central prayers of our service, beginning with the Shema and its blessings. And to do that, we invite two of the blessings that are here in our congregation, Izzy and Maddie, to join us on the bimah to lead the rest of our service. Page 263, Chatzi Kaddish, please rise.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי נקודשה לעילם ינקוד בחטא ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירה בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
We'll remain standing as we continue with the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated.
Baruch et Adonai.
This one you specifically requested, so we're going to do it for you, even if you forgot at this moment. Of course, you've learned all the prayers perfectly, but you really wanted to do this tune that you love for this next prayer, Ma'ariv Aravim, that you learned at camp, right?
No,
Hebrew school?
Hebrew club.
Hebrew club. You guys do this at Hebrew club?
Yeah.
That's pretty
Well,
cool.
they have the coolest Hebrew club teacher
That's
there is.
right.
Yeah.
Their mom.
All right. can help me sing it. Roll into dark.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Light becomes day, day turns to light. Roll into dark, roll into light. Light becomes day, day turns to
Boreyom.
Boreyom balayla, golel or ipnei choshech, golel or ipnei choshech, vechoshech mipnei or.
One more time.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to
Boreyom,
Boreyom balayla, golel or ipnei choshech, golel or ipnei choshech, vechoshech mipnei or.
We'll continue page 266, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael am ha'avta Torah u'mitzvot hukim u'mishatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shofenu u'kumenu nasiach behukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגד יומם ולילה.
ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher nohim metzabecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam nadecha v'dibartam bam v'shivtecha v'itecha u'lechtecha v'derech u'shokbecha u'kumecha u'shartam leot ha'yedecha והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, ופתחתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם. אשר הוצאתיהם מארץ מצרים, להיות להם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיהם. Amen.
Amen.
So, people have asked me, they haven't actually, but it's a start to this talk. What is a Jewish miracle? And we could make a joke and we could say it's being there when the warm bagels come out of the oven, or we could go historical and say it's the miracle of the oil lasting for 7 or 8 days, depending on how you do your counting. But I think actually a Jewish miracle is a miracle where we take an active role, we have agency in making the miracle happen. See, there's 3 positions I think that one can have on the road to redemption. One can be running away from something to flee. One could be running towards something to acquire or to achieve, towards the promised land, away from slavery. Or one could be standing still. And it's the standing still that is not the Jewish miracle. Throughout our people's history, standing still has not generally resulted in redemption. But when we have run towards something, the freedom of the other shore as represented in the Michamocha that we're about to sing, when we run toward the promised land as is in our Torah and our tradition, we just read about the spies last week in Torah, or when we've run away from something, perhaps with a sense of prescience that this gathering storm clouds, we have seen this before and we know that it is time to get out. That's when we have a hand in making our own miracles. And so as we sing this song of redemption, the Micha Mocha, with its familiar words, I invite you to think about whether you are running towards your redemption, whether you are running away from something that is holding you back from redemption. And if you are standing still, unsure of which way to go, towards, forward, or backward, then perhaps we can use this moment of Shabbos to examine that and decide which direction we want to go. Our rabbis also teach that if you're going in one direction your entire life and you're not happy with that course, then the first thing, and maybe the only thing you need to do, is take one step in the opposite direction, and that will change the arc and course of your life. Micha Mocha will continue with this song of redemption as the Israelites crossed through the parted seas from slavery to freedom, page 270.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ne'nar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot oseh pele, nora tehilot oseh pele. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokeh hayam livnei Moshe u'Miriam. Zelianu ve'amru, Adonai imloch, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed, v'nemar kivat Adonai Yaakov, u'ge'alom yad chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai, ga'al Yisrael. Ashkimeinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom. Dehamidenu shomreinu lehaim. Uvros aleinu sukat shlomecha, uvros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'poreh sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Page 272, Yismechu.
We're going to change it up tonight, Rabbi
Oh,
Dan.
we're changing it up.
Shamru at the top of the page.
Cantor calling an audible.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. Yam b'day day day, Shabbat Shabbat, Yam b'day day day, Shabbat Shabbat, Yam b'day day day, Shabbat Shabbat, Shabbat Shabbat Shalom.
It was actually even highlighted on my sheet that we were doing with Shamra. I didn't look at it. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftahu Fi Agid Tehilatecha, eternal God, open up our lips that our mouths might find the words to speak with you in prayer. We'll rise the Amidah, page 274. step back and forward and bow.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov,
Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Hasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, L'man Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach.
Baruch atah
Adonai, Magen Abraham Be'ezrat Sarah.
Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayim et Matara L'Yoshia,
Morid Hatov,
Mechakal Chayim
Hesed, Mechayei Meitim Berachamim Rabim, Tomech Noflim Verofei Holim, Umatir Asurim.
Umekayem Menuto, Mishen Le'afar, Mihamocha Ba'al Kefura, Umidomela, Melech Menim Tumechayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'emanata l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayem
Team. We'll continue
We're,
on page.
On page 276. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. We'll continue on page 279 with Ritzeh.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel u'tehile ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Korab Enei El Avadecha V'choneinu Shefoch Ruchacha Aleinu V'techezena Eineinu Beshuvecha LeTzion Berachamim Baruch atah Adonai HaMachazir Shechinato LeTzion
The authors of the siddur, in, I think, their inspired wisdom, sought to make a point of making sure that we didn't go through a service that was all about the tsuris in our life and the worrying without also taking a moment to acknowledge with gratitude the blessings in our life. And so they set aside this prayer, the Hoda'ah, prayer of thanksgiving, to make sure that because whenever we get together, we might just only focus on the oys in our life and not the joys. To take a moment to offer prayers of gratitude and to reflect on what is good and what is blessing. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. The top of 281 together. For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life in nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being. 3 lines down from the bottom of page 280, 4 lines. Va'al nisecha.
Ve'al nisecha shebecho yom erev vavoker. ערב ובוקר בצהריים, מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך, מעולם קיווינו לך.
A prayer for peace, page 282, Shalom Rav.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. בטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
My God, keep my tongue from evil, my lips from speaking guile. To those who revile me, let my soul be silent. My soul shall be to all as dust. Open my heart to your Torah, that my soul hasten to do your commandments. Let the words of my mouth and my heart's meditation be acceptable to you in your presence, O God, my rock and my redeemer. We take a moment for Tefillat Shebalev, the silent prayers of the heart.
Come out of that silent prayer with Yihiyu l'ratzon, asking that the words of our mouths, the meditations of our hearts be acceptable. I'd love to have Alyssa come join me for this piece. You can come stand in the middle, it's okay. It goes like this.
Invite everyone, if you would, turn to page 371 in the siddur. As we come together in prayer, we come not only with ourselves and our own prayers, but our prayers that are really our prayers on behalf of others, our loved ones for whom we are especially praying, who are dealing with illness at this time. We offer them a mishaberach. And this Shabbat in particular, we think of Charlotte Bell, Sid Kurson, Ishayahu, Glenda Gutman, Dana Becker, Stephanie Stanberg, Sarah Chiachi, Yaakov ben Yosef Abatia, Michael Cohen, Reuven ben Zlota Nachman, Lynn Kurson, Wendy and Roger Seelig, Yaakov Eliezer ben Kalev Paula, Natalie Wormelli, Yumkin Godin, Semach ben Menashe Halevi Varikla, Meir Tzvi, Meir Zalman ben Rachel, Daniel Gottesman, Bill Shaw, Claire Columbia, Carla Zivit, Janet Gelb, David Shlomo Gorney, and Andrea Jarzbiak. If there are other people you're thinking of you'd like to mention for this healing prayer, I invite you to stand and share their name.
Sheberach avoteinu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So it is my honor now to invite Matthew Levinson, who is a new, fresh member of our board of directors, just elected on board at our AGM this week, to share some words of announcements of what's happening in the shul. Thank you, Matthew.
Hello. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
I didn't know that I was going to be doing this for the first time. I knew this was a board duty, but I didn't know I was going to be doing it for the first time here tonight. But what an honor to get to do it with you guys on your simcha. It's anyone can have an honor on a Saturday, but not everybody can go on a Friday. So this is very nice for me to get to be with you and your loved ones. So thank you. So first announcement: join Cantor Cohen for Queer Torah Study on Wednesday, June 28th at 7:30 at Robson Park. That's where Cantor Cohen's not here. That's the one on Kingsway, right behind just Kingsway and 15th there. So there's the JQT Nosh and Gab picnic at 6:30, and then our Queer Torah Study group is after that at 7:30 for a discussion. To get more details and to sign up, email Cantor Cohen at templesholom.ca. Torah-inspired leadership study group is with past President Jeff Balin. These are really interesting. He looks at leadership through the lens of the weekly Torah portion. And I really encourage you to show up. Newcomers are always welcome, and you don't have to go every time to have a meaningful experience there. So check that one out. Thursday, June 29th, 7 o'clock via Zoom, and there's information on that one on the website. Shabbat on the Beach is coming up. That's Fridays, July 7th and August 11th. That's at the far end of Spanish Banks. It's just kind of the very last parking lot. There's the dog beach kind of, so if you get to that parking lot and head towards the dog beach, that's where we are. And it's a really, really neat thing to come and be a part of. It's real special by the ocean and with the community. So definitely do one or both of those. And Rabbi Dan's Kosher Catch is Sunday, September 3rd to Wednesday, September 6th in the interior to do some fishing. And you don't have to have any experience, right? You just little experience. And Rabbi Dan is not going to, you can learn to fish, but you don't get to learn to catch, right? That's the, yeah, okay. And so, and it's fishing, it's studying, it's prayer, it's kibitzing, food and accommodations depending on preference, motorboat rental, guide service, camaraderie, and spiritual rejuvenation. Check out our website, and there's an FAQ on there, and you can register, and it sounds like a fun experience. It's not totally kid-friendly, so maybe not a kid thing, but it sounds like a really great thing to be part of. Maddie, Izzy, Mazel Tov, and is Cadence, I don't see Cadence, but apparently she just converted, so that's really wonderful. Mazel Tov to you too if you're watching. And thank you, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos, thanks, Matthew. We're going to celebrate Cadence and Kay also, actually, tomorrow morning with the blessing, so it'll be great. So, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Great to see everybody. What a nice full crowd tonight. So I want to start by asking, just to get a sense of my crowd, anybody here watch Succession? Okay. So if you know, you know. Okay. I won't get into spoilers or anything like that, but it's this HBO show, it just ended, and it's really about this family dynasty that owned a big media network, kind of like Fox News. And the senior, the father, the CEO of the company is trying to figure out who is going to succeed him. And there's all sorts of things that happen. But one of the things that happens is, toward the end, the kids start to realize maybe that what this network is doing is actually riling people up. Kind of a little bit like Fox News. And that there's a lot of repercussions to that. And it's interesting to think about the power of an individual, the power of a network, by which I don't mean a television network, but a network of people, and the power of the spreading of news that can rile people up to do really big, dangerous things. And I've been thinking about Succession, well, because it's a great show, but also because of this week's parasha. Maddie and Izzy know. It's Korach. Korach is a parasha that's very much about a rebellion, about people being riled up to really dangerous ends. Now, this famous story is Korach rises up with some others and stands up against the leadership of Moshe, of Moses, and Aaron, Moses' brother. And the end of their story is very dramatic, actually, that the rebellion is quashed as the earth opens and swallows Korach and his followers. But what I think is really important to remember about this story is that it's not the story of Korach as one person, as an individual. He was not one person acting alone, but he had assembled this coalition of people, many of whom had very different agendas, and what he did was bring them together for his own purpose, but tragically, it came together to a very, very poor ending. So I want to talk about who was in Korach's coalition and what is their motivation. So Korach was part of the elite. He is the cousin of Moses. He also, like Moses and Aaron, was from the tribe of Levi. And it seems that he's there to achieve even higher status than what he already was born into. Then there are two others who are made known to us by name, Datan and Aviram. They are just plain troublemakers. We learn from the Midrashic tradition that they over and over again speak out against Moses and Aaron. And then finally, we have this mass of people, 250 individuals who actually want to serve like Kohanim, like priests. And they come and they bring their fire pans and their strange fire, and they try to make these offerings, which reminds us of Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, a few weeks ago. So there are these three groups and their own motivations. A very famous 19th century rabbi known as the Netziv, who was in Eastern Europe, he talked about these 250 men, this big group. He actually writes that their motivation was very sincere, that they were not actually, we know from the Torah text, that they actually didn't get swallowed by the earth, but they died from a plague. He said they really wanted to serve God. They felt like they were doing something that was really, really important, and they were willing to risk their lives to do so. Datan and Aviram, on the other hand, they were just scoundrels. But Korach knew that he needed them because they were good propagandists. They could rile up a crowd of discontented people. And Korach, his motivation, well, our tradition says he was corrupted by jealousy. Now, all of these character tropes reoccur in all human communities. They're not just a Jewish thing. This is a human being thing. But tonight, I want to focus on those two, Datan and Aviram, the troublemakers. Why? Well, because I think their story in our tradition is really important, and we usually actually skip over them and look at Korach. But to understand these two figures, I think gives us an opportunity to think about how their personality treats their motivations can help us think about our world today. So to understand these two men, Datan and Aviram, we have to go back in the story in the Torah, to a story not from where we are right now in the book of Numbers, but to something we read quite a while ago in the book of Exodus, a narrative I think many of us know quite well from our Pesach Seders. So we know when Moses was growing up, the prince of Egypt, he was growing up as a surrogate child of Pharaoh. He was out strolling one day when he saw an Egyptian taskmaster strike a Hebrew slave. He became so upset by it that what did he do? He struck the Egyptian a fatal blow. The taskmaster died, and Moses hid his body in the sand. Now, the part that you might not remember takes place the following day. Again, Moses was out for a walk and saw two Hebrew slaves fighting with each other. Moses interrupts them and asks, "Why are you fighting?" And one of the men responds, "Who made you ruler over us? Do you mean to kill us like you killed the Egyptian?" From that response, Moses realizes that his actions of the previous day when he killed the Egyptian were now known, and he feared that Pharaoh would find out. So he ran away to the wilderness, and we know the rest of the story. He meets Zipporah, there's the burning bush, the 10 plagues, etc. So, our tradition asks, who were the two Hebrew men who were fighting? And the Midrash teaches us, I guess you can guess, it was Datan and Aviram, our two troublemakers. They were back in Egypt as slaves, fighting and talking in a nasty way to Moses. It's a great midrash. It makes a great connection. These same two men who we see in this parasha have been making the same types of accusations against Moshe in the past. They became habituated to slander and made false accusations into part of the discourse that then surrounded the Israelites all those years later. So what can this midrash teach us about our lives today? I think it's a lot. If we think about it, we live in a time and place in an economy that has become politicized to reward people who are willing to rile up anger and dissent. Ezra Klein wrote a book called Why We're Polarized. And he says, the old line on local reporting was, if it bleeds, it leads. For political reporting, the principle is, if it outrages, it leads. And outrage is deeply connected to identity. We are outraged when members of other groups threaten our group and violate our values. As such, polarized media doesn't emphasize commonalities, it weaponizes difference. It doesn't focus on the best of the other side, it threatens you with the worst. In her book, Trick Mirror, Gia Tolentino offers her description of what has been especially true in the last few decades, as she talks about a shift that happened in our discourse, particularly in social media. The early internet, she wrote, had been constructed around lines of affinity and openness. But when the internet moved to an organizing principle of opposition, much of what had formerly been surprising and rewarding became tedious, noxious, and grim. The shift partly reflects basic social physics. Having a mutual enemy is a quick way to make a friend. And politically, it's much easier to organize people against something than to unite them in affirmative vision. And within the economy of attention, conflict always gets more people to look. All of us know that this is around us, and yet we can very easily get swept up in what we hear. We have an important duty, I think, to make sure we understand that there are people like Datan and Aviram out there who are trying, intending, and yes, profiting like the people of succession in riling up dissent. Most of us, I imagine, are as susceptible to this dissent as those 250 Israelites who had maybe good intention but got carried away somehow along the way. And so we have to always check ourselves to ask, am I getting excited by something out of sincere motivations? Are there people or forces out there who are trying to sway me in a particular way to promote agenda? In our time, our job is to know ourselves, to keep our eyes open to see the Datans and Avirams in the world around us, and to know that we all have the capacity to stand for what is right, to stand for the moral center of our characters. Shabbat Shalom. So we're going to turn back in our siddurim, our prayer books, to page 586. I invite everyone to please rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגוהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים עמך, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo Echad.
Please be seated. So our thoughts turn now toward memory. We recite a poem before the Mourner's Kaddish. It's on page 595. Yesh kochavim. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. Turn to page 598. And as we prepare to recite the Mourner's Kaddish, we share the names of those for whom we are in a period of Shloshim, or marking Yartzeit this week. And I invite you, as I read the name of your loved one, if you would stand and honor their memory. We're in Shloshim for Susan Everall, Jeanette Foxman, Charles Golden, Batya Carton, Ronnie Margulies, Ron Mintz, and Abram Tubenschlag. And we mark Yartzeit this week of Beatrice Feiner Abelson, Ellen Becker, Hyman Bland, Carl Walter Baum, Lillian Brookstone, Joseph Conrad, Elizabeth DeVries, Ruth Fuchs, Henya Freiberg, Carol Fugman Fry, Aurelia Gold, Annie Greenberg, Nathan Groper, Max Groper, Rosa Huberman, Barry Hyman, Joseph Cates, Philip Klein, Boris Korodgodsky, Sandra Landskroner, Marjo Lowe, Miriam Margulies, Jack Maurer, Corey Mintz, Catherine Nayrod, Norman Pollock, Mayor Rudlier, Fruma Sanders, Sam Schwartz, Solomon Silverfinger, Gideon Stein, Max Switzer, Jim Tisdale, and Ida Vines. If there are others who have come to say Kaddish, those in the first year of mourning, if you would rise and share the name of your loved one. We stand together now as one congregation beside those who mourn, and invite the mourners and those who choose to join in these words again, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'itadar, v'it'aleh, v'it'alal, shmei dekudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen, amen. Yehi zichronam livracha, may their memories always be a blessing. So we say together, amen, amen. We'll remain standing. I'm going to invite Izzy and Maddie to join Cantor Cohen to lead us in Kiddush and Hamotzi. If you want to follow along, it's on page 122.
Vayhir, vayhi boker, vayhi yom hashlishi, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ואלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה. וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי וקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצוונו, ושבת קודשו באהבה ורצון המהילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תהילה למקראי קודש. זכר לצפיית מצרים, כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. בשבת קודשך באהבה ורצון הנהלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Okay, now we're going to uncover the challah and join together in Hamotzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, motzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. We'll conclude with Adon Olam, page 626, I think. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, 625. Let Yiva, let Nasa, V'chefzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא אדון עולם. והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה ותפארה אדון עולם, אדון עולם. אשר מלך בטרם כל, יציר נברא לעת נשא, וחפצו כל. אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם. שבת שלום. שבת שלום.